spring afternoon in 2007, and I was at the doorstep of a luxury listing that we were representing for $10,500 per month when a $150,000 Mercedes-Benz pulled up in the driveway and 3 people got out. Now, what happened over the next 3 weeks taught me a lot about how to operate a business, how to not get taken advantage of, and gave me some key lessons that I'm going to tell you about after the story. So I showed this property. The guy who came out was flashy, to say the least. He was wearing jewels. He had rings. He had iced out rope around his neck. He had a wig. He had bright diamonds in his ears. He was like very, very flashy and gregarious. I was asking him questions, trying to get to know him. He's a little bit weird, frankly, kind of weird, kind of off. But, my experience with really rich people or really, really extravagant people is that they can be weird. So I was like, I'm going to go with it. This guy's kind of weird. Hey, good story, right? So I showed him this property. I showed him 2 more properties that day. It took about 4 hours out of my day, whatever. And they told me, hey, you know what? I like to come back to Marin and I like to see more properties, but I'm also looking to buy something. Great. Now, I just want to let you know, I was in the business for less than a year. I only had my real estate license for a few months at this point. But hey, I had access to properties. I had someone who wanted to rent or buy really nice properties. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to show them properties. So that's what I was doing. Now, I want to just take a step back and let you know that Darcy was actually supposed to take this appointment. And she didn't take this appointment because she felt weird. Her spider sense was up when she was talking to this prospect and asked me to take the appointment on her behalf. Hey, I was like, fine, no problem. But if I don't come home, blood on your hands, babe. Anyway, that didn't happen, but because you can see I'm still here. But I ended up showing this guy those 3 properties. We made an appointment for him to come back a couple days later. He came back, and I'm at this property that I'm supposed to be meeting him at, and I've been waiting for like an hour. This should have been a red flag right there. I was waiting way too long, not getting any answers to my texts or my phone calls. And right when I was about to leave, a car pulls up. Not the $150,000 Mercedes-Benz, but like a bucket. A beat up Nissan Sentra. It was missing hubcaps. It was dirty. I think there was a crack in the windshield. It was just not the car. But the client came out without the jewelry. Not only did not have the car, didn't have the jewelry, didn't have the wig, didn't have anything. It was just came out very, very plain looking. Red flag number 2. Well, I proceeded to show him a couple more listings and a couple really nice listings for sale and for lease. And he told me, hey, you know what, Christopher? Actually, I found the property that I want. It's in Oakland. Here's the address. Contact the listing agent. Let's schedule an appointment for me to see it. Actually, I went to an open house, but I want to see it again privately. Can you make the appointment? I can make the appointment. Of course I can make the appointment. So I go and call the listing agent that day and say, hey, look, I got someone who's interested in your listing. They want to see it 2 nights from today. Can we get in there? He said, absolutely, no problem. I drive out there. It's like 8 o'clock at night. I drive out to Oakland. I go into this beautiful gated neighborhood and see this amazing house. It was beautiful. I think it had like 12 bedrooms. It had 14 bathrooms. It had this big, vast pool, infinity edge pool, overlooking all of Oakland. You can see out towards San Francisco. It was amazing. I was there. I was chatting up the listing agent. You know who didn't show up? The buyer didn't show up. Red flag number 3. So I call him up. Finally, I'm on my way home. He calls me back. He said, oh, I've got this happened. I couldn't make it. I'm so sorry, but I want to write an offer. Great. We'll get an offer out there. So actually, as I mentioned before, I was new to the business. So I called up one of my colleagues, someone in my real estate network who was very experienced, said, hey, listen, can you help me write this offer? Sure, I can help you write this offer. I said, listen, I'll pay you. You can keep the commission. Just pay me a referral fee. And, I'll look at it as sort of like a paid internship type of deal. So she said, fine, no problem. Let's meet up. 2 days later, I call up the buyer, say, hey, look, we're going to meet up this agent. She's going to write up the offer for us, and we're going to submit it to the listing agent, and then we're going to get into contract. You're going to buy this house. It's going to be great. We're going to celebrate. It's going to be phenomenal. Great. Hey, can you pick me up? Pick you up? Yeah, pick me up. I can't get out there. Something's going on with my car. So this guy went from $150,000 Mercedes to $5,000 bucket to no car. Sure, I'll get you. Red flag number 4. Now, I don't know. I was kind of getting beaten in the head with all these red flags. I wasn't learning my lesson. But I go out there to Oakland to meet this guy. He was 2 hours late to showing up to where I was supposed to meet him. And I waited. No problem. We drove back to Marin. And I took everybody out to this really expensive dinner. I think I spent like $400 on dinner. And the agent had the documents, and everybody signed the documents, and the buyers, they got up just before we left to use the bathroom, and the agent said, something's kind of off. Like, he wasn't reading these documents very thoroughly. The signatures were all off. You're buying a multi-million-dollar property. You're gonna have questions. He doesn't have any questions. Why doesn't he have any questions? Also, where are his income documents? Where is proof of funds to close? Where's all that? I said, don't worry, I'm on it. I'm gonna get it. That's my part of this transaction. I'm going to get you all the information, and we're going to meet tomorrow at my house. We're going to give the offer to the listing agent. This is before like DocuSign was big, or it was like the norm. It was way before that. So we're going to present the offer to the listing agent, and at my house, you're going to be there. He's going to be there. The buyer's going to be there. It's going to be fine. We'll have all the documentation. Everything's going to be fine. Fine. I drive these people back to Oakland. I said, okay, tomorrow, we're going to take care of all this. Yes, we'll be there. We'll be there at 2 o'clock, I think. I'm at my house. I got, drinks ready to go. I've got the listing agent there. I've got the buyer's agent there. I'm ready to go. Guess who doesn't show up? The buyer. Buyer doesn't show up. Buyer is never heard from again. Phone line's dead. The whole thing, it's gone. Now, listen. I found out later that I wasn't the only person that was ever victim to this sort of scam. As it turns out, there was people out there who are regularly contacting listing agents or real estate agents, asking to tour very nice, expensive properties, and also looking to get like drinks and dinners and lunches to get some sort of significance and get treated to these nice things. It cost me a few $100s. It cost me a lot of time. It cost me a little bit of heartache. Got over it, but I did learn a few things. Now, if you're a DIY landlord, I want to tell you 3 ways you can detect fraud and how to avoid it in the future from prospects. So number 1, if someone calls you about your property, you want to ask them qualifying questions. In our office, we ask, hey, when are you looking to move? Do you have any pets? How's your credit? And how long of a lease are you looking for? These are very direct questions. They deserve direct responses. And if people don't have good answers for those questions, like let's say you have a credit threshold and then give you a credit score number that's well below it, guess what? It's probably not a prospect that you want to work with because they don't meet your credit threshold and you want to move on. They're going to be a waste of time. If you have a no pet property and they have 3 or 4 dogs or 1 dog or 5 cats or anything in between, guess what? Not a good prospect. You want to move on. Number 2, let's say you go through the pre-qualification questions when they call you, you end up showing them the property, and they end up applying. So they end up applying, you're going through your credit application process. Number 1, you want to have an application process. Now we'll teach you our application process in the $1 Million Mindset Method that's inside the Landlord Code course, but you want to definitely have a process. And if I can leave you with nothing else today, the one thing you want to make sure that you verify is their credit score. And you want to verify their credit score. You do not want to accept somebody else's credit report. Credit reports are easy to fake. They can be manipulated. They can be changed. And I've seen it happen to clients, and I've caught it, and I've caught a lot of these things for clients and my team over the years. So number 1, make sure that you run your own credit. Let's say you get through the application process and now you are looking for verifying documentation to support their application. You're going to look for holes. Let's say they have a landlord, they put landlords down for 2016 to 2017 and 2017 to 2019, but they don't have anybody from 19 to 20. You want to ask, hey, where's this landlord? Why is there a hole? And you want a good answer. And you want to talk to that person. And if you don't get a good answer and you can't talk to that person, likely a fraud or someone that you don't want to work with. Also, if you have income thresholds and they fall below your income threshold, let's say they can only provide you documentation for a portion of what they're supposed to qualify at, and they don't have a good story, they can't provide you with anything else, guess what? They're not a good prospect and you probably want to move on. Also, if you cannot get in touch with an employer or somebody that's a reference that's on their application and there's no reason for it, you probably want to move on. Are you guys getting my drift? If things don't make sense, you don't feel good about it, you can't get the answers to the questions that you need to have, you're going to want to move on. Period. Now, I want to be very, very, very clear here. You want to ask them questions as it pertains to your business, to the rental property, credit, income, landlord, that type of thing. You do not want to get yourself into a position where you're asking questions that are in violation of fair housing. And we talk about that in the Landlord Code course inside of our $1 Million Mindset Method. But things you don't want to ask them are questions about, as an example, familial status. How many kids do they have? You don't want to tell them that the property's not good for children. You don't want to ask them questions about their sexual orientation or anything about their disability as examples. There's a lot more of these things, but fair housing is something you want to avoid. And make sure that you ask questions specific to the business that you want to learn, have them qualify for, your rental property, all right? Now, I love to hear from you. Did you have a good story about how you got duped or how you avoided fraud or something that happened to you when you're trying to qualify an applicant that was strange and either you learned a good lesson from it or you were able to spot it and not have to go through that hard experience? I want to know from you about that. And if you like coffee, I'm giving away a gift card so you can get some coffee. Maybe one drink, maybe two drinks, maybe 1.5 drinks, who knows? But if you have a good story and you have a great coffee drink, I want to support both of those things. So drop your story in the chat, qualify for our gift card to Starbucks, and get caffeinated and share your experience. All right, everybody, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'll talk to you later on this week. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm out.